Welcome to the Love Rekindled show, where real stories, heartfelt advice, and expert guidance come together to help you create richer, more meaningful relationships. Meet your certified relationship coaches, Margo and Antonio Taylor. Through transformative coaching, informative workshops, and special events, the Love Rekindled community empowers families and couples to grow closer, communicate openly, and embrace the power of love. This is the Love Rekindled show. Let's begin.
Today's show will be about bridging generations. A Gen X couple shares love lessons with Gen Z. Today, we will explore how values, communication styles, and relationship expectations have evolved over the years, revealing hard-earned lessons that can guide younger generations toward deeper connection and understanding. So this candid exchange uncovers the timeless threads that bind us, proving that true love can thrive across different eras and worldviews. So guess what, Love Rekindle community? We have a plot twist today.
Drum roll.
We are being interviewed by the wonderful Brian and Naria Jackson.
Yep.
Yay!
Thank you guys for joining us. Appreciate you guys coming.
Let's do it. I love the plot twist. Yes, thank y'all for having us.
Absolutely.
Yes.
We're so excited to have you guys interview us. We thought that this would be a great show to have because you guys been married, what, 2 months?
2 days? No.
Yeah, a month and like 19 days, 20 days. I'm on it.
We're excited for you guys to be here with the Love Rekindle community, here with Margo and Antonio. We are the relationship coaches, and we're excited for this interview today.
And like they say, the floor is yours.
Oh, we're excited to be here. So I want to say thank y'all for allowing us to be here.
Absolutely.
Also allowing us to learn because, as we start marriage, we're trying to grow and, develop ourselves into the right space as we, learn and grow together.
Right.
So I appreciate and learn from
so
y'all.
Young and representing Gen Z.
Yes.
We have a lot of questions. We're starting, to step into the marriage field. So.
We have answers.
So yes, and that's
I hope
exactly
so.
why
We're ready
we're here.
for them.
So,
We got some good questions as well.
Okay.
Ready for y'all.
Sorry, guys.
Let's get into it.
Also, I guess we'll start with the first one. How did y'all meet? Because let's just icebreaker. How did y'all meet? What made y'all know that y'all wanted to marry each other off rip?
I'll let you take that one first.
Well, Antonio and I, we met. We both were cops. So Antonio police for 19 years. I did close almost 10. And he was my field training officer. He wasn't my original field training officer. My original officer sent me to him for training because she was out of town. So that's exactly how we met. I was 30 minutes late for work because I'm bad with directions. And so I got lost and couldn't find my way and was late for work.
Still get late today.
And was training and pulled up and I was apologizing. I'm a rookie officer, Officer Taylor. I apologize. I'm running late. And then I meet Antonio. He's my officer.
Yep.
So with the follow-up question to that, did y'all have to leave the job because y'all started to see each other in a different aspect? How did that work?
Yeah, so actually we didn't because police officers, we was on the same level. So at the time, so once I got through training her, we were just friends for years. So nothing happened initially.
Right.
So we were just friends. She just was a late officer initially. So over time, we developed a good, strong friendship and we were both officers. So when you both at the same level, you can stay at the same department and day.
Okay,
Right.
cool.
And we did it.
Yeah.
Nice.
And how did y'all, after the years of friendship, how did you know, what was it that you saw in each other that made you know that this was serious, this was long-term, this was forever?
Yeah. I can say for me, Margo has a quiet confidence for me. That was very attractive for me. And she was just like a homie level friend. So I tell anybody the best thing for us, we develop a friendship. I hope you guys are friends. And if you're not friends, work on being friends because it's going to get you through some tough times.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I like that.
Because even as friends, how y'all deal with disagreements as well as, learning from those disagreements without having animosity, going and allowing that, resentment. Because friends,
So the thing is that Antonio and I were really good friends before we got married. I'm talking about good friends. I'll say he probably wasn't my best friend at that time, but he was a very good friend to me.
I'll say that.
Yeah. Okay. So what happened is that it was definitely a difference going from the friendship space to being in a relationship. Why? Because friends, we know the dirt. Right? So we were friends like that, but we talked about all kind of stuff. So he knew all my business. I knew all his business. We just were friends. When you change gears to being a married couple, there are some adjustments that need to be made, right? Because a lot of things that you did as friends, you have to kind of tighten up a little bit because now we're in a committed situation. Not saying you have to change who you are, but the commitment is there. So now no matter what, not only are you my friend, you my everything, and we got to do this life together. So for us, making that transition from friends to marriage, it wasn't easy, but we did it, if it makes sense.
Yeah. And to your point of just handling conflict, it takes time. Initially, you're going to be at war until you get the tools to handle things calmly. The best advice I would give anybody in relationships: listen with your heart. Once you listen with your heart, you actually hear what she's saying. You can't be defensive. The moment you listen to her with your heart, it's going to soften you. And so when we coaching couples, the biggest thing I tell them, conflict is going to come.
Right.
Yeah.
Just listen with your heart and have a heart for the person that you're in conflict with, because y'all not at war. Y'all just trying to fix the situation.
And also listen and hear each other. Don't listen to respond. I think that is something that I did a lot early on. I listened to respond. So when Antonio would be talking to me about something, oh, honey, I'm in my mind. Oh, I'm glad you said that. Because, oh, no, you was wrong on that. But I'm having all of these thoughts in my head, but I'm not present. I'm not listening to him. So he's telling me I did something that bothered him. His feelings are hurt. He's feeling some type of way about something that I said or may have done. But in my mind, I'm thinking about how I'm going to respond to you because I don't like what you're saying to me. You took it the wrong way. So now I'm here and I'm not present. So if I can't tell you anything else, really try to be present. And I know sometimes emotionally it could be difficult, but I promise you. And the second thing I'm going to tell you guys is personal touch always works. So sometimes when you got to have the conversation, touch his hand, touch his leg, have that conversation. Listen, you got to do what you got to do. You got to do what you got to do. You got to do what you got to do. Like Tony told me, you only rub on me when we're in the grocery store. We in the line. You spending my money. Look, I gotta rub it in his back. He be like, here you go.
That's exactly what she
must be in the line somewhere.
And it's only been a month. I know that move already. I said, what you buy today?
She's been trained well.
Yeah. I'll come home from work and she'll just be like, hey. And I'm like, what's going on? The next day, Amazon packages. I said, oh, okay, I see. I'm learning that move now.
Get used to it, Brian.
Learn early.
Second, on the back end of that question is also like, what about when you, as a person, you know, as we all grow, and like I'm 28 years old right now, so I feel like I'm growing in my own way.
You are.
And also she's growing in her own way. So like, what about those times of conflicts where you feel like you have to give up yourself or you have to give up pieces of yourself to better the relationship?
That's
like,
going to happen in marriage.
how do y'all work through that? Because I feel like that's the biggest thing I'm going through now is like, you know, I feel like I'm trying to establish myself in my career, trying to establish myself in life, trying to become a man. So how do I do that as well as respect?
Hard conversations. Y'all have to talk about it. You guys are in a real fragile space because you guys are new individually and together, right? Because you're growing individually and you're realizing, okay, now we have a life together. So what that's going to look like. So I have my personal life and then I have my married life. One thing I can tell you is definitely make time for your personal lives outside of each other, if I can't tell you nothing else. Of course, getting married, you know, you in love, you know, I want to spend every waking moment. I want to drink your bathwater. We all been there, right? But make sure that you still have that downtime where you do your girls' time, where you hang out with the fellas, or you go hang out with your pops, or, you know, you guys have the individual time. Now, when it comes to inside the marriage, you have to have hard conversations and talk about your goals, your aspirations. What is it that you're trying to do? So for you, Brian, you're trying to do some things in your career. You know, it's some things that you're trying to do. So you have to sit down and have a conversation and say, babe, listen, these are my goals. This is what I'm trying to do. And so I will probably need a year or two to get to that space. This may require me to spend 3 extra days a week handling something to better myself in that space. Communicate, talk about it. Because the thing is, then she know how she can support you and where she needs to be to support you with your endeavors and vice versa. You listen to her concerns as well.
And I think to Margo's point, make your spouse the sounding board. So for any and everything that you guys are doing, make each other the sounding board. That's how you grow together.
Right.
Because there's some things that you're going to be dealing with that she's not dealing with. But if you make her the sounding board, hey, I'm struggling right now at job, getting a promotion or whatever's going on.
Right.
When you make her part of your process, you're not alienating her.
Right.
So I tell anybody, make your spouse your friend and your sounding board. So long as you do that, you won't have to ever worry about growing apart. Most people grow apart because they're doing everything so separate.
Right.
And they ain't even talking to each other.
Correct.
So they wake up 10 years later, like, who are you?
Right.
Why you here?
Right.
So that's the biggest thing. Bring each other along with your journey. Don't give up your individual journey.
That's right.
But bring each other along with it. And protect each other.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah. And speaking to your points on kind of making that intentional time for each other, prioritizing each other in life, what would you recommend as far as keeping that romance alive, like dating? How often? What does that look like?
Yes. So I'm sorry, man. I got to take the date one. And I'm going to talk specifically to you. Date your wife once a week. No matter how busy it is, because kids going to come, things is going to come up. But make it your point and intention to date her once a week. And it don't have to be going out.
Right.
Even if you guys come home and find a space, because me and Margo, we have a space in our room, a sitting space, where we just sit and we just talk. And just make it, you can create your
Turn
own.
on some nice music, light a candle,
Prioritize
have a glass
each other.
of wine. You know, babe, how was your day? You know, man, my day was crazy. And you could just sit. You don't even have to have dinner or anything. You just sit. And that's our date night. We sit, we talk. You know, I put my feet up and let him rub my feet, or I rub his feet, and we'll just talk and just
Mainly,
have that
me
downtime.
rubbing her feet is what it really is.
But the good thing
I know that
about
move
the good
too.
thing about it is connection, right? Because when you go from that dating space, you know, you're dating, you're hanging out, you're having a good time, you're enjoying each other. And then when you get married, it's like, okay, ooh, we got bills, life is life, and we have work. And so
But
what
don't
happened
forget
is
about
don't
that
forget about
process.
each other. So still schedule that time, or start creating the rituals for your marriage. You know, when you guys get off at a certain time, we'll sit and have dinner together, you know, or we'll do certain things together. Antonio and I have things that we've been doing all of these years, and we still do it today.
We
So some of
shower
our friends
together.
are like, oh my God.
We shower together.
Still
That's
to
something
this
we have
day.
been doing, and that's something. That's a moment where we
And
Every day
Every
or-
day.
every day. Every day,
Really?
because we get really, really busy. But at nighttime, for the most part, we both are there.
Right.
So we had the crazy cop schedule. Now our schedule is pretty much the same at nighttime.
Right.
So every night or morning, we shower together.
Right.
That's just something that we do. And I encourage you guys to create something for you guys, and do not let the kids and life take that away.
Right.
Don't forget why y'all did this.
Yeah.
There's a lot gonna come from it. Y'all gonna get great careers. You're gonna have great kids. Don't let that come in between this.
Right.
So we're gonna have to do a bathroom remodel in our house and make this extra large shower.
Make it happen.
No, it's okay. And listen, it don't even have to be the shower. Like I say, it could be just be like, you
Yeah,
know,
sometime, yeah.
some nights, you know, when we coming home tonight, babe, what you cooking? I'm cooking. Or, you know, you can switch and be like, babe, you can choose this week. Or what me and Antonio do, because our schedule sometimes gets so complex. Sometimes we'll make it fun and we'll be like, okay, well, let's get back to dating. We slipped for like 2 weeks. We've had a lot going on, a lot of traveling. And so the thing is, okay, you do the date night tonight, and then I'll do the date night next week. So it give you little things to think about. You
Create
know,
a
should I
good
do a bubble
foundation.
bath? Should I do,
Yeah.
you know, it'll give, everybody's putting in the effort.
Yeah.
I have a question now going towards spending time as well and making intentional time, because y'all both are very successful entrepreneurs. Y'all both have businesses together and as well as individually. So how do you, you know, how that separation and say, hey, this business, I love it to, you know, because you created something, but also say, hey, this marriage, how do y'all split that time? It's even saying intentional, because like, how do you even make it intentional? Because like sometimes the business might have to come first in some people's eyes to be like, hey, it's a fire on the business. We got to go make sure it's fine, but also be like, hey, dang, babe, I got to take you on a date too. How do you
Right.
balance that? Those two?
Prioritize.
Antonio business is like Waffle House. His business open 24 hours a day.
7 days a week.
7 days a week. So his business runs when we sleep, you know. So that is a big thing. Now, Antonio and I, it was very challenging at first because we both were very busy. We both had businesses and all of that stuff. So when I stepped out and I was an entrepreneur first. So let me back up. So Antonio still remained being a police while I started my spot business. So with doing that, we still had some balance. But when he became an entrepreneur and then I was an entrepreneur, we had to go back to the drawing board. And that's something that we want to share with you all. Never feel as though you can't go back and redo something you guys have agreed to do. You know, because a lot of times in relationships, it's like, well, you said, and we're going to stick to that because that's what we agreed upon. It doesn't work that way. You always have to be open for the adjustments and the changes. So what we do is we have a certain time of night where we'll put our phones up. Right now, honestly, we watch our phones together. So he'll kind of lean over on my side and we'll watch TikTok for 2 hours. And then we'll say, okay, you ready to watch TV? Or we'll go to bed. So we kind of just make that time for us. We're very intentional. So at a certain time, you know, we put our phones down. Now, Antonio's phone may ring because his business is 24 hours. But I have to respect that and understand that that's his business because we've had the conversations about it. Now, sometimes he gets super busy and then he's like, okay, well, dang, you know, we need to get a date night in. And so he'll tell you.
The biggest thing is prioritizing each other. It's nothing more important than my wife. And I'm not saying it because she's sitting here. I prioritize that because life is going to happen. It's going to be some times where I'm just busy and I can't. But with my priority where it needs to be, she's going to always get the time that she needs. And when I can't give her that time, I'm communicating when I'm going to give you that time. Hey, I know I've been busy 2 weeks, but this is what we're going to do. This is what's coming up. So just create a foundation where both of you guys understand both of you guys is first. Life is hard. The kids going to come. Job going to become demanding. Family going to be pulling you. Keep each other first. So if you hear nothing else I say, make sure she's always first.
So the Gen Z and all the new millennials and the people coming up, you're saying prioritize wife over business always.
Over everything. Because the reason we go do business and make money is to share it with somebody. Yeah. Some people chase all of this money and lose the reason they were chasing it.
Right.
It just makes no sense.
Yeah, that's facts. Yeah.
So it's just all about just prioritizing that thing that's most important. Because like I say, kids going to come, career going to get demanding. Prioritize your wife and your husband.
Absolutely.
Because I see a lot of things on social media. They're like, as women, they're usually when kids come, they prioritize the kids. Usually always. And
that's a big mistake.
And so some people, I heard different viewpoints. Some women are like, hey, my kids come first.
Yeah.
And then the husband's like, hey, my wife comes first. And then you have the divide of the wife saying, hey, my kids come first. So do you say the same thing as well?
My husband comes first. Okay. And I'm going to tell you why. Because right now, we have our youngest son still at home, but everybody else is gone. Right? So what happened a lot of times in marriages, you have children and you make your life and your marriage centered around the children.
What
right?
happened when they leave?
You don't cultivate your marriage. So when that last child is going to high school in his senior year, the mother is in the stands and she's crying and bewildered because I'm going to have to, I don't even know this man I'm with. I've devoted all of my time, all of my attention into my children. And in some instances, I've neglected my husband. So I don't know where he at and what he got going on, but we just doing it for the children. And so for us, we were very intentional from the beginning because we were a blended family. We were like, look, we love them kids, but man, it's about us. So we still did our date nights, even when the children were younger and things like that, because when you put the kids first, you put your marriage last.
Yeah. And for me, the most important thing, and I would say I understood I had kids that was watching me and how marriage should be. So if I sit and I show them that they should be prioritized over the marriage, my lineage won't be what it needs to be because I'll have some selfish kids. Right. So and that I would definitely strongly advise you guys, because you're going to have kids, make sure you put yourself first. And it's not going to neglect your responsibility to your kids. But understand, they're going to get older and leave. Right. And if you don't do it right, you're going to be stuck with a roommate. And it's just so unfair to you. And the kids, they're going to do whatever they want to do. They're going to go on. They're going to go in relationship. They're going to go on and live their life.
Their best life.
So don't base your life off their life.
Right.
Your job is to raise them, not cuddle them.
Yeah. That's good.
I like that. I also have a question, just circling back to when you all were speaking about the balances and the nuances of prioritizing your partner. A hot topic that came up actually during my bridal shower. So we were able to have a lot of different generations give me advice, stepping into marriage and, what that will look like as a wife going forward. But some disagreements came about on the topic of like friends and whether you should be sharing your marriage business or venting to people outside of your marriage, or kind of setting those boundaries going into marriage. So I guess my question to you is, what's your opinion on sharing or venting to friends about your spouse?
My thought about venting to friends. Okay, so one thing I'll say is your marriage is sacred. And I don't discuss my marriage with everyone or anyone. However, I do have people that I confide in, people who love me and people who love my husband and really support our marriage. And it's not a lot of people, maybe like one or two that I can confide in and talk to, but I'm very careful because sometimes your friends don't have the experience or the wherewithal to really help you through certain situations, especially if they haven't experienced it or have been through it themselves, right? So how could you advise me when you haven't walked in my shoes? So for me, I'll say always find that trusted one who can be non-biased, who can still love you and your husband no matter what. And that's the person that you can confide in because they're going to give you sound advice to help the couple.
Yeah, I would say venting to someone and getting advice is two different things. I think it's okay to vent to anybody that you trust. To get advice from someone that have experience. Go to a therapist, go to a married couple. Be careful who you get advice from. It's okay to vent to anybody you trust. Nobody should be able to pick who you get to talk to vent to. But when you get that advice back, you better make sure they certified to give you certain advice.
Now, I do feel like there are parameters of who you should speak with. Only because sometimes, when you call, like say for instance, in our situation, if Antonio and I were married and I'm calling his sister dogging him out, that's not cool. That's not cool. Or venting to his friends about him, that's not cool. It's just not, For me, if it's something that, so for me, I look at venting, it should still be in a safe space. I don't feel like you should just still vent about your partner to any and everybody. It still should be those boundaries and restraints because you have to safeguard your marriage.
Yeah, I agree. And that's why I was saying somebody that you can trust.
Right.
You just don't want to just go spruing to anybody. But you should be able to pick the person that you want to vent to, that you trust, and vent to them.
Right. And you should, but you also have to make sure, especially, that they're giving you good sound advice too. Yeah. And that's just even if you do choose them, you want to make sure that you're choosing someone who can give you sound advice. That's but true. You have to be careful.
Yeah, because typically some people try to vent. They tell the whole story, or they're on their perspective of what the story was like. Because that's what venting is. You're like, hey, this is what I feel. This is what I'm telling my other friend.
That's right.
And your friends is gonna be like, yeah, they suck too, because all you tell them was terrible things about your.
And that's why I say the advice coming back is the part you got to be careful. Saying it is one thing, but when you have to get it back. That's where you have to be very careful because what you get back is what you're going to take to your marriage.
Right.
True.
And I think that's something that I struggle with just because I kind of grew up with that notion of, you keep your marriage to yourselves, you don't vent. But also, we're in the day and age of, it's healthy to communicate or, therapy is beneficial, obviously.
Yes.
Definitely.
And so just kind of finding that balance of, who we can really talk to. So I like your points about, just, I guess, having discernment on who you're speaking with.
That's right. Because I just feel like everyone, especially because the thing is this, marriage is work. It's not easy. And you can't do it alone. And that is a lot of the reason why Antonio and I created the Love Rekindle community, right? To have a space, a safe space where, guess what? We have people been married 30 years, 35 years. Guess what? They dealing with the same thing, y'all.
And everybody deal with the same.
So we all have dealt with it. So when we all can come together as a community and share insight, share information, that is a wealth of knowledge because we're all going to go through it in some way, shape, or form. We're all going to experience it.
Definitely.
So with the Love Rekindled podcast, did it start from a spout or did it start from like, hey, y'all were on good terms when y'all started this? Or was this after like a bad period and y'all were like, hey, we need to do something to change this and make it happen?
It actually started since the time we've been together. So we was the couple that always got everybody together. And a lot of people think, when people say, you got a healthy relationship, just because the relationship health doesn't mean you don't argue, doesn't mean you don't disagree. Yeah. Me and Margo, we argued last week. We may have an argument next week. It happens.
Right.
What happens is you just learn how to disagree. You learn how to stay in love with each other. You just stay committed. I chose to be here, so I'm just going to be here. So we started Love Rekindle. It was a calling. We've been doing this the entire time we've been together.
But I think initially when we created the Love Rekindle community, I think Antonio and I forgot that this is what we do.
This is what we do.
Right? Because one thing about it is we always had a love and passion for couples. Like even when we first got married, we did like a Black love dinner at our home, and we invited 5 couples over. We had a chef and we had them dancing and, tell your partner how you appreciate them. So Antonio and I have always, and that was like 10 years ago. So we've always had that soft spot for couples and Black love, all love. We've always had that. So the Love Rekindle community was built, and we were in a good space. We were just wanting to create a space for married people, right? Because you have all these things where single people, they have all these podcasts and different things, but very little for married people and resources for us to use. So that's what kind of births us to say, you know what, let's do the Love Rekindle. That'll be amazing.
Yeah, the funny thing, when you find your purpose, you always stumble upon the purpose.
Right.
And y'all will see this, and because you guys definitely it's headed for greatness. When you find that purpose, it's going to be like, how did this happen? How do we end up here? Most purposes are ordained by God, and you stumble upon them.
Yeah. So with also the purpose and stuff like that, what is your advice to millennials who are looking for love? And who, they have yet, like I said, I think the question I was asking before is like, even when you're trying to find yourself and things like that, do you have to find yourself before you find love, or can somebody help you find love and find yourself as well?
I think you have to know who you are.
Always
before you integrate yourself with anyone else. One thing I can say for y'all generation, and Antonio can contest to this because we have a couple of young couples that we do counsel. Y'all are really on y'all game. Babe.
Y'all don't mind getting help.
Y'all don't mind getting help. Like y'all come in the door, like couples been married 10, 15 years. We be in there like with pliers, pulling the whistle tooth out. Listen, y'all come in, y'all be like, listen, these are the holes. This is where the situation is. Yeah. And I do this. Yeah, I do that. We be like, wow. Yeah. So y'all really know why y'all here, why y'all need the help. So we commend you guys with just learning, like on the forthcoming, to just be forthcoming and upfront about what's happening. Yeah. This is what we're dealing with. These are our challenges. Can y'all help? Yeah. So we're excited for the new generation. And Antonio and I, we really enjoy and want to connect with younger couples more, because it's so much that you guys can learn from us and we can learn from you all.
Yeah, you guys are definitely on it. You guys don't mind asking for help. You guys definitely don't mind communicating. I almost want to give us the credit, because I think we the one that raised y'all. So I almost want to say,
is it through trauma though, or is it through
it's definitely through that, because we
50-50.
Yeah, because we was raised. We the generation that you don't talk out of my house, so we don't have communication skills. So we got y'all overly communicating, which is a great thing. You guys communicate extremely well. Y'all do.
But do you think sometimes you can over communicate though? Is that a thing as well?
I don't believe there's no such thing as over communicating.
Please over communicate.
Yeah,
I prefer over than under.
Really?
Yeah.
Over communication may annoy you, but it won't mislead you.
All right, so some people might take that out of context too. So somebody may be like, "Oh, over communicate everything." They say, "Hey, last Tuesday I was in the bathroom and I was thinking about somebody else." Like, is that over communicating? Can that be over?
That is. Well, you
some people will say that. Like, "Oh, I just tell them tell them not to."
It requires them to use their common sense.
Okay, yeah, there we go. Okay.
That definitely requires that, but definitely communicating. I feel it can never be overly done, because through communication we just realize so much. So if you able to have a great friendship and able to communicate, you have a great situation. If you just have those two things, you have a great situation. And most people struggle with those two things. They're not friends and they can't communicate.
Did y'all ever have a situation y'all were afraid to tell your partner, tell your wife, or tell your husband, "Hey, this one's a big situation. How are we going to deal with it?" And how did y'all go through about it? Did y'all have to sit each other down and just say, "Hey, look, I got to tell you the truth. This sucks"?
Yes, I think initially early on, I think I had times where I didn't want to tell her certain things early on. And it had nothing to do with her, how she was receiving me. It had something to do with how I was raised and my inability just to be transparent. I just wasn't there as a young man. I was still immature. But once I got to that space where it's like, you know what? This is what happened. Let's just deal with it.
Yeah.
I mean, let's just deal with it. And I think And like I said earlier, once we start having those tough conversations, the relationship got better.
And it's not tough anymore if you keep doing it, right?
It's
not tough. And I could say for me, I was always the one in a relationship where I always would call the meetings, conversations. Like I was that person. Even with my children, you know, I tell them quick, hey, we need to talk. And everybody be like, oh no.
Here we go.
So so that's why more so I probably lean to the over communicate because I'm with it. Just let me know what's going on. If you can let me know what's happening, then we can navigate through anything. But if you don't tell me, it's nothing that I can't do.
Yeah, and I'm gonna say this. Ladies, men are not afraid to communicate. We're not afraid to communicate. We don't want to be over-taught when we communicate.
Yeah.
So when you're asking your man to communicate with you, be okay with hearing him say things that you don't agree with. That's the biggest thing that men deal with. We're not afraid to talk. We tired of having to over-talk you guys is our biggest issue.
And the thing is, too, when you are facing that and you have that issue going on, communicate that to your person that, listen, it's difficult. I'm having a hard time communicating with you. I'm trying to get something, you know, I want to talk to you and open up and be vulnerable. But if you're not open, if you're not present, if you're not willing to listen and hear, what's going to happen? Who else am I going to have to talk to?
Yeah, because a lot of time we deal with the results and, oh, men don't talk. He just shut down. But if we go back, he wouldn't always shut down. Mm-hmm. He was drained out. So it's just a lot of things that we just need to really, really work on. And even with men, we just have to be more honest. Men, we're not honest. Let's find a way to be more honest. They're not going to break if we tell them the truth. It's things you need to tell her the truth.
And what's your opinion on, I guess, with different communication styles? Say one person, if things get heated, one person needs to take space, but the other person wants to work it out then and there.
That is good. So you got to have
a personal.
Oh, I love it.
That's what we're here for.
I know who need a moment. I know who want to just stick it out too.
Right.
So, but
it happens. And that's normal in relationships. You have one that, because I'm the one that need the time. Mm-hmm. Tony, I want to talk about it right now,
Absolutely.
now. Let's talk about it.
I'm a doer.
Let's talk about it right now. And I'm like, listen, give me a second. I want to respond to you well. I'm angry right now. I'm not feeling good. Mm-hmm. So give me a second. And his thing is, no, I want to talk about it right now.
So one thing I can.
So we had to grow in that area.
Yeah. And one thing I can tell you, Brian, give her time. Because when you give her time, you're going to get a better result. Yeah. You're going to get a way better result. Because like you, I wanted my answer right now. Like, I don't want to wait. Because, see, I love you and I care for you. Me waiting is punishment.
Yeah.
But now I understand, let me just go ahead and do what I need to do. When you're ready, you let me know. So the thing of it is almost how you decide to get your time. Just don't sit there and shut down. Brian, could you please just give me 10 minutes? And I'm going to answer, and we're going to have the conversation. But I just need a little time.
That's true.
And if you do that, he can take that. But if you just shut down, you don't know what you're doing.
So clearly communicating how long.
Clearly communicate that you need time.
Yeah, just I need the time and take the time you need.
Because I think that's the thing too. People expect you to already know it. Hey, look, I'm just walking away from you. Because I needed time. I'm like, what you walking away? Yeah. No, we need to talk.
But you know what, Brian, that's what I was talking about earlier about really finding, like, over communicate, like say the things that you need to say. And you guys are going to learn, like, this next year or two, you guys are going to learn so much about each other. You thought you knew each other, but
them 2 months right now.
You're going to learn way more about yourself.
Yeah, true. True.
You're going to learn a lot about yourself.
True. And too, just to let you guys know, to give each other grace.
Definitely do
that. Give each other grace.
Because you both on a fast track. Like, everything you guys is experiencing right now, you never did it before. Right. Everything is new. She's having to adjust to living with you every day, whatever your demands, whatever her demands. So give each other grace and have the conversation. If it's something you don't like, if the rice is not good, find a nice way to say the rice is good. You just can't come out and say the rice is trash. You can't do that. So what you got to do, you got to find some recipes. Say, hey, babe, let's try this recipe. It's just all about how you do things because you're responsible for how she feels.
It's called finessing.
Well, for me, it's not even the rice ain't bad. It's like, babe, I can't be eating all this on the first week because she trying to get me big.
I'm
trying to lose. I'm trying to be healthy. And
definitely
she
set your boundaries with that. No. Set your boundary with that because we always pick up 40 pounds when we get back. Set your boundary,
I get tired of hearing people say, you got that happy weight. And I'm like, Lord have mercy.
Set your boundary.
Brian, it's been 2 months.
Exactly. 2 months got 20 pounds on me right now. I was at 200 when we got married.
I'm
normal,
gonna
though.
tell y'all that
It's
is normal.
normal.
The happy weight is going to come.
I'm telling you, hey, everybody told me too. They tell you, be ready, it's coming.
Oh, listen, because listen, you
But
getting ready
I'm
for the
getting back
wedding,
in.
baby. Everybody in the gym, trying to
Yeah.
get fit, nice.
But what I can say you can do to that is y'all start going to the gym together.
Oh, yeah.
Start walking
yeah.
together. Walking around the
we
neighborhood
run it
is
together,
for
so
me
that's good.
is one of the most intimate things you can do. Because you walking around your neighborhood, so you're able just to see your neighbors, and you guys just able just to catch up.
Yeah.
Now, would you consider that like quality time or intentional dating time, or no?
I would consider it that, but you guys get to decide. I consider
What a funny
anything.
part is he considers it as intimate dating time, but honestly, I wouldn't.
See,
I
So
agree.
that's
That's
the
how I
difference.
I'm the same
so
way.
the thing is, a lot of times in relationships, because
So
something
let me ask a
means
question.
one thing to us.
Why would you ladies not consider working out together, exercising as intimate time? I would love to hear this.
To me, it just feels like that's kind of routine. Like, we're gonna work out at some point in the day, or it just doesn't feel as intentional to me. I feel like intentional to me feels like we're planning a date, we're going to this place at this time, and this is what we're doing, versus we're waking up and going about our routine like day to day. It's nice. I consider it quality time, definitely, but I don't consider it intentional dating time, if that makes sense.
So you do, but the reason why I would consider it intentional dating time because we're actually working on a goal together. We're actually working to we actually anything that we're doing that's going to benefit us. Sign me up. That should be quality dating time.
Right.
We're setting aside time.
I don't consider
and the conversation we're gonna have while we're doing it.
Right. I don't consider it
Stand by
as
it.
I don't consider it as quality dating time. Only because before I met Antonio, I worked out. So I was a gym rat. I worked out on my own. So for me, working out is a me thing. It's me against me in that time. So that hour time that I'm working out, I'm not talking, I'm not doing anything. I'm just processing. I'm focusing on who I'm becoming, who I am. So for me, my workout time is something different. But for him,
So let me clarify. I was saying walking around the neighborhood together, not going to the gym.
No, I'm not talking.
Okay.
I'm talking about the exercising period part. Even if I go walking outside in the neighborhood, it's like for me, I don't know. I'm conditioned where my exercise time is like a solitude kind of situation. So even when Antonio and I do get time to go to the gym together, he's on the he'll walk the track, and sometimes I'll get up there and walk with him. But he'll do his weights, and I'll get on the treadmill for my time and do it that way. So I just really think it depends on the person and what's important to them. Because just like for me and Antonio, clearly he find intimacy in walking around the neighborhood and exercising
You
together.
said clearly.
And for me, I don't like walking around the neighborhood looking around at trees. You see what I'm saying? I don't enjoy that. But if he enjoy it, sometimes I will go walk with him in the neighborhood. But I have to be honest with him to say, babe, that ain't my jig.
And to our point, just this particular conversation just shows us how different men and women are.
Absolutely.
Like we all see this chair red, but men and women, we are different.
It might be
they
different
think
color
orange.
red.
They think it's orange. I know.
That's a cardinal red. I'm like, it's red. At the end of the day, it's red. You know.
So I mean, the thing is we've touched on so much today about the differences in the Gen Z, the Gen X. We applaud you guys on, taking steps, getting married, doing y'all thing. Y'all generation is killing the game. So y'all just stay ahead, but always understand that we are here for you guys. If y'all need any advice, y'all need to talk some things through. We're always here because we're doing this and we're setting this platform for couples like you all to come up and have a community and have resources and have the support that you all need.
I gotta ask you guys a question before we go. I just have to do this. I have to do this. I have to. And I'll start with you, Brian. What is the biggest challenge for you as a young man right now, newly married right now at 28 years old? What is your biggest challenge for you right now?
I would say that's a great question. I would say just learning and trusting the sacrifice that I made, and also trusting God through this whole process. Because I think that's the biggest thing now, because we all have our own, I had my own individual thing of what I thought 28 would look like, or what I see 30 will look like. And before, I mean, originally I was like, yeah, I always want to get married. But now actually being married and trusting, like now I'm like, oh, you have to make a lot of sacrifices. Not just like, oh, you know, I sacrifice waking up and she's next to me. Like, oh, it's no, like you're changing the routine, you're changing your daily life. And so I think that's the biggest thing that I'm learning through this process and adjusting to, is like trusting God through this process and knowing that, hey, he guided me through all the way till when I was 28. He's going to guide me through all the way till I'm gone and left this earth. So I'm trusting him that as we grow together, we're going to continue to, you know, learn and develop and sacrifice for each other. So I think that's the biggest thing for me. Yeah. Because, I had my own success story that I built in my head. But now it's like, okay, we have to build.
Just being modified a little bit. Right. Same question. You don't get to get out of this question.
No, I agree. And I like that point about definitely faith, just staying strong in my faith, and understanding that everything is happening the way it's supposed to. And I think that the biggest thing for me, so I'm 26, married, okay, 2 years younger, but I think that for me, you know, I just finished my master's, and, you know,
congratulations.
Thank you. So, and I'm, you know, starting, you know, a new career and all of this. And I think that going forward and building that family, I think that I'm trying to kind of find that balance for myself, and whether, what I really want for myself, whether that's fully being home with the kids in a few years, maybe, or if that's really pursuing my career, or if that even changes over the next few years. So I'd say just kind of seeing that vision as it's kind of changing in real time, where my priorities are. I'd say that's probably the biggest challenge for me right now.
Man, we so happy for y'all. We happy for y'all. Y'all on the right path. If any advice I would give both of you guys, the advice I would give you guys is hold each other's hand. Stay with each other and just stick it out together. Don't let nobody penetrate you guys.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
My advice to you all would be to remain friends, because in marriage, there are going to be those hard times where you're going to have to see Brian as your friend, and you're going to have to see Naria as your friend. So never lose that. Continue to work on that. And also understand that it's okay to have the hard conversations. Talk about them goals. Talk about the kid goals, you know, the children. When do we want to have them? You know, what do we want to do with our careers? Really talk it through. And understand that you guys may sit down and come up with some goals, and things may change, and be okay with making the adjustments.
Absolutely.
And you're not going to agree on everything, and it's perfectly okay not to agree. It's perfectly okay not to agree. Just always remember that. She's not going to always agree with you. He's not going to always agree with you. It's not going to happen.
But remember, chat, happy wife, happy life.
Yes.
As she says, of course she's going to say.
So would you guys like to share anything with the Love Rekindle community before we leave the show?
Well, one, just thank the Love Rekindle community for just appreciating and watching. If y'all are still watching all the way for these 45 minutes, I appreciate it. That means a lot to me. But also, I guess, like, what advice, or just
what would you you could just talk about your experience on the show. You know,
this has been an amazing experience, first off. So thank you all again. Thank you all for allowing us and for creating such an amazing platform for, you know, love rekindled, and also just marriage and advice, life advice in general. Yeah. Because, I mean, we need more spaces like this. I will also say, if there's anybody who's in their 20s, 30s, who also want to meet some other young young married individuals, please reach out. Hopefully we could probably, you know, put our socials up there somewhere. But yeah, please follow us if we can, or, you know, just reach out, and we'll love to interact.
Give me your information. How they connect with you.
You can connect with me on Instagram as well. Mine is Brian X Jackson on Instagram, or anything like that. I mean, you will see like a million different Brians, but it's Brian X Jackson. That's it.
Oh my God.
Mine is nars._. So NARS._. It's my nickname.
Well, guess what, guys? The Love Rekindle got taken over by the Jacksons today, and we're so excited about it. Listen, guys, we are here for it.
Yeah. Also, want to say shout out to Thomas for allowing this connection to actually be actually happen.
Absolutely.
With his great, suggestion on allowing us to interview y'all, because this has been amazing. I learned a lot, so thank y'all so much.
Okay,
Absolutely. Thanks for
great. We
being here.
appreciate you guys for coming. And thanks to Thomas
Yes.
for having his friends join us on the Love Rekindle show. All righty. So today's show is powered by Platinum Luxury Fleet, the SIP Social Investment Group, and Pierre Branding Group. Thank you for joining us here on the Love Rekindle show. We hope today's conversation left you being inspired, encouraged, and ready to pour more understanding, patience, and love into your relationship. Until next time.
See you guys next time.
Peace.
Thanks for joining us.
Thank y'all.